I am Burt Green and this is the Burt Locker. I am going to be looking a deep dive on a couple of the fights on UFC 285 coming our way this week. Headlined obviously by Jon Jones versus Ciryl Gane. Now, my first deep dive is going to be into Mateusz Gamrot versus Jalin Turner. That one's taking place at 155 pounds. These are two guys that I think are the future of the 155 pound division. It's a really interesting fight. And I'm really looking forward to it. It's got Fight of the Night written all over it. That one is actually over on my Patreon. So if you'd like to see the breakdown of that fight, head on over to the Patreon. Otherwise, it's going to be straight over to the main event, which is what I'm going to be breaking down. But first up, so yeah, if you want to see Mateusz Gamrot versus Jalin Turner breakdown, Patreon now. On to the main event of the evening. We've got Jon Jones taking on Ciryl Gane. Obviously, this is huge because we've got Jon Jones making his return, the greatest of all time, going to be fighting in a new weight class, going up to heavyweight from light heavyweight. The former most dominant light heavyweight champion of all time, now fighting at heavyweight. This is what we watch the sport for, is that these kind of fights. This is the definition of a super fight. It's going to be brilliant. 6'4" is playing 6'4", 3.5 inch reach for Jones. Now, Jon Jones, greatest of all time for me. He's just... His only loss is by DQ to Matt Hamill. It doesn't really count. It was those 12-6 elbows. He didn't lose that fight. Other than that, he has never tasted defeat. And the only time... he's so good that the only thing that people can point to are fights that seemed close at the time. But when actually you go back and watch them, they weren't that close. People always go, oh, well, you know, Reyes and Santos beat Jon Jones. No, they didn't, right? Get your head out of fantasy land. Come back to reality, look at the records and watch the fights as well. Go back and watch those fights. Jon Jones did enough to edge both of them. Were they convincing wins? Not really, no. But they were wins. And if the best you can do is point to close fights and say, well, I think he lost those ones, then that just shows how good Jon Jones is, doesn't it? I mean, the thing is, the fights weren't even that... When you go back and watch them, sometimes they're not as close as you remember. Myself and Dave, DT Podcast, shout out, we did a little revisit of Jon Jones versus Gustafsson, the first one. And I think we both ended up agreeing that... Because I was already saying that I thought that Jon Jones won it fairly convincingly. And we both ended up agreeing on the night that... Actually, Jones probably won that 4 rounds to 1. That's how dominant. Yes, Gustafsson gave a good account of himself, but round by round, there's an argument really that Jon won 4 rounds out of 5, which isn't that close, is it? It just isn't. That's not that close. So, yeah, in terms of Jon Jones, he started out as a wrestler. And then he became an elite level striker. So he knows how to wrestle. He knows how to strike. He's got no real weaknesses. He's well above average in every area. Almost elite in every area, to be fair. And one place he is definitely elite is his fight IQ. His fight IQ is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. He's so clever. And he's elite. And that's going to be a problem for Ciryl Gane, I think. Ciryl Gane, look. I like him. He's very, very good. I think he's the future of the heavyweight division. He's what we expect from these kind of athletes. We don't want the big lumbering guy. We want to see guys that are really athletic, like, you know, Tom Aspinall's as well. Be looking forward to seeing him come back. Gane, he's very fast. He's so fast for a heavyweight, undoubtedly. Because against Volkov, you saw Volkov was puzzled by the speed of Gane. Like it's a difficult one to deal with because all of a sudden these guys realise that they're swinging, hitting nothing and getting hit and there's nothing they can do about it. He's patient as well, Gane. Gane's also pretty clever himself. His fight IQ is pretty good because he's so patient. He takes very few risks. And that's what makes him so effective, honestly. But although we have seen him in one fight against Tai Tuivasa, and whilst he did get kind of dropped and he didn't have it all his own way, he still ended up winning that fight by knockout. He got into a firefight with a brawler, a powerful brawler, came out on top. So you've got to wonder, has Jones got the power to put Gane away? like standing. I don't, because Jones isn't known as a one-punch knockout artist, is he? It's just that's not what he's known for. So if he does get the win that way, I'd say it's going to be a TKO. But Gane, he also has submissions. He says that he doesn't like to grapple. He just loves to strike. He even said in an interview that he doesn't train grappling unless he's in a fight camp, which I don't think is true. I think he's trolling there. I think that's a trap. But I don't know. So in summary, look, Gane, he's very fast for a heavyweight, but is he going to be fast compared to Jon Jones? That's going to be the issue, isn't it? Because Jon Jones is a light heavyweight who wasn't slow at light heavyweight, but you put him up a weight class. Yes, he's going to lose some of that speed, but is he going to lose enough of that speed for the speed advantage of Gane that is usually very pronounced to be as effective? That's a question, and it's one that I'm looking forward to finding out the answer to. Now, the other problem here is that Ngannou, he out-wrestled Gane, right? Ngannou is not a wrestler. Jon Jones started out as a wrestler. He knows how to wrestle. His wrestling is extremely good. If Ngannou can out-wrestle Ciryl Gane, Jon Jones certainly can. I would say that much. So the other thing is Jones just knows how to win. Sometimes people just know how to win. He's a winner. He is a winner. Like he's never tasted defeat. That's very rare, very rare. And he's just got a knack for just edging those rounds if he has to, for doing what he needs to do. Now, he does sometimes, Jon Jones, like to beat his opponents at their own game. It's a weird thing that he likes to do. You know, he likes to out-wrestle Chael Sonnen. He, outstruck, he likes to play them at their own game and show that he's better. I don't think he necessarily does that here. I think he wants to come back and show that he can win at heavyweight. So I think that his path of least resistance is to take Ciryl Gane down, which I think he's going to be more than capable of doing. And then he uses his length. He's very long. He could use his length similar to what he did to Brendan Vara, just literally landing elbows from the guard position, because he can elbow from guard. That's how long he is. They call him Bones because of those elbows that he lands. And then those elbows will mess you up. He's going to land with extreme power. I think he gets a TKO. I think he gets it done by TKO. Nasty ground and pound. Takedown, nasty ground and pound. Jon Jones gets his hand raised at heavyweight. New heavyweight champion. And then it would be very difficult for anybody to argue Jon Jones is the greatest of all time. That's how I see this one going. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not saying that Gane hasn't got a chance here. He's very, very good. But that's what makes this interesting. The fact that Jones is taking a risk, going up to a higher weight class to see how he fares. And I cannot wait to see it. It's going to be super fun. So if you've enjoyed these breakdowns, please do me a favour. Hit subscribe. Don't think about it. Just hit the subscribe button. Don't even think about it. And I'll be reviewing all these picks and seeing how reacting to the event itself next week. But until then, keep all those odds long and those bets terrible.